Okay, so let's start. A small introduction of our company, first of all. We are an independent broadcast company in Italy. We work and deliver end-to-end services in broadcast. So we do the TV production, the whole TV production from A to Z, for example, from the cameraman operators, TV directors, TV producers, all the technical part, until TV graphics. Today we will be focused on TV graphics for sure, because it's the most important thing related to GPS. Our goal is to try to to create a bridge between timing companies, GPS, data tracking, to deliver on broadcast environments. So during a live TV production, we display a lot of data, a lot of situation, and we try to create a storytelling to turning the sport data into clear and engaging screen narratives. Small introduction of ourselves. My experience is in timing, so I come from timing companies like Datasport in Italy. TDS was one of the leading company in Italy in the past. Now they did a fusion with other big timing companies, as probably the other timers know. We don't want to do timing anymore because for me was a really difficult area, because too much contact with the participants and we don't like. So we just focus on broadcast. Especially the registration process part, we hate it. So we just deliver TV graphics and we rely on different timing partners. Datasport as well, because we work with you sometimes in some races, and many others around the Europe, Matsport, Mika Timing, and so on. My background is also as a TV director for specific events, graphics coordinator, highlights producer, and so on. Anna is our chief operation officer. She's the best case of entering the company and continue to grow, because she entered as an intern and then now is our main contact for the production coordination overall. And she's also one of our best graphics operator with a huge experience in international events. So what we do, we take the data from the timing company, we process this data, we display rankings, we display many other things. Our goal is to support the TV direction, to support the commentators, to support also the spectators to understand better what is happening during the race. Our main sports are cycling, triathlon, and road running events, especially marathons or half marathon, but also trail running events and something like this. We are focused on endurance events, endurance races, because we work with pro cycling, of course, but also many mountain bike marathons. And this is the reasons why then we enter in touch with RACEMAP to have better data during these kind of races. Many in the Dolomites, one for a couple with Datasport as well, like Hero Dolomites and Maratona delle Dolomiti, which are one of the two top races in Italy for this kind of events. One is on tarmac and one is on gravel. What we try to do is collect this information, process this data, and give different information during a race. This is an example. So to explain TV graphics is this one for somebody who don't know. We take the data and we make calculation on this data. So we will see during the presentation that what we do also with RACEMAP and many other providers is continue to calculate the data, not take only the kilometers to go or the speed from you, but try to give more information based on this data we receive. What is the process during a live production? Usually, we take the data from different providers. The GPS data devices are on athletes or on motorbikes, for example, leading motorbike on the front of the race, on the peloton, chasing group, and so on. These devices send real-time data. We receive this data, we have a data processing in case of RACEMAP. The first data processing is on RACEMAP. Then we take this data through the API. We will see, but we use basically the current API from RACEMAP. And then we process this data inside our graphics engine, GPS engine, and then we do the display during the race. Many times, and is also something we discussed with Conrad yesterday, we also use this data in replay situations because we can have not only live production, but fake live production. We do many in Italy, for example, for low budget races. They would like to simulate the race not live. So it's like live, maybe the last 20, 30 kilometers. But from our side, we need to reproduce as live what happened. So we need to record this data as a log and then reproduce all this data during the fake live. This shows just the process I just described. So as you can see, we start from the live position. We go here. Now we will see that the normal situation in big TV production is not using RACEMAP, but is using different providers because the GPS data are coming from the provider who work on the mobile signals. For example, they provide motorbikes, they provide helicopter, they provide the relay aircraft. So through an RF link, the data from the motorbikes goes up to a relay airplane or a relay helicopter, and then push back to the OB-van, to the direction room. This is the best way because we don't have latency, of course, but as you can imagine, it's also a very expensive process because we have heli and airplane, and for example, an helicopter for 1 hour of flight is 2,000 euros, just to give you an idea. So this is the reason why we start working with RACEMAP, because sometimes our client asks us to provide the whole process by ourselves. So we need to find something that can help us to avoid this expensive process. The other thing is that every RF provider, and we have many here in Europe, use a different protocol, his own protocol, to send us the coordinates, the speed, and everything. So for us, it's very difficult because we need to create a custom decoding for each system. Now we have it, but it was a long process because for everyone, we need to collect this data, translate this data, and decode this data in our systems, and then display. Yeah, this is just you can move on. What we do basically is to find a way to have a scalable solution with RACEMAP. Usually our normal workflow is in the big production, use the RF data because they are more accurate in terms of latency, and use RACEMAP as a backup. But as we can see in the past, sometimes maybe one GPS data motorbike system from RF fail in some way. So we need to switch very fast on RACEMAP to stay alive during the production, because the problem in our work is that we don't have margin of error during the live production. If we cannot show the kilometers to go, for example, there are complaints because the broadcaster maybe are doing the commentary remote. So they need every time to see the kilometers to go to explain what is happening during the race. So for us, it's really important to have every time, and now in almost every of our production, we use RACEMAP in the mix. But many times, as I said, especially in Italy, where we don't have budget for big productions, many times, but also in France is a common situation. We need to use RACEMAP as a primary system. Our system then can stay alive even in case of the RACEMAP trackers fail or lose the connection. We have a system that, triggering a button, we continue to simulate the kilometers to go. We continue to simulate the gaps based on the last data we received from the RF or from the RACEMAP trackers. So this is basically the comparison between what happened in the two situations. As I said, now for us it's important to have both situation. Is really mandatory, is really important because it's more reliable, because many times we had more issues with RF-based GPS than RACEMAP. Also because we cannot control, of course. It's another provider. We just receive the data. If they fail, we don't have margin of error. And the provider of the graphics at the end is the main problem for the organizer, because we have the responsibility to show the results, and they maybe just put the shit on us, and not on the other providers. So this is the comparison with the difference. But I think that the most important thing now in the sport industry is this one, the production cost. Everything is related. For sure, if we have the RF-based GPS situation, is for top events, European Championship, World Championship, big events, big stage tours like Giro d'Italia and so on. Many other races now prefer to rely on that situation because they don't have the RF system to transmit the images, but they use 4G systems, 4G or 5G systems. And in this case, it's more difficult to send also the data within these kind of systems. So to describe our workflow, the first thing, as I said before, is that we use the current API. This is our main source from RACEMAP. So we just acquire this data. This data will go in our GPS engine. In our GPS engine, we have a data manager for every production. Our team is almost every time made by one main graphic operator responsible to send the graphics on air, to speak with the TV director, to decide what to show, and the data manager responsible to be sure that all the data that will be passed to the graphics operator are fine and correct. All the data, I mean GPS and also timing as well, because of course the timing do his job, but we need also to check that everything is okay and so on. Many times we have two different situations, two case studies. Usually we put the trackers on the motorbikes, as I said. In few situations, we also deploy the trackers on the riders. Our main case history was with Xterra, which is a big cross triathlon circuit, probably the most important cross triathlon circuit in the world. We covered the World Championship and the World Cup everywhere, and there they asked us to provide to all the elite riders a tracker. This was a game changer because we can control almost everything during the production in terms of data. For example, the cross triathlon is a sport where they remain alone very fast. It's not bunch of groups, bunch of riders in the front of the race, no peloton. Everyone is alone, like a mountain bike marathon. So for us, it's important to select the correct rider, like in this example, and calculate the gap between just two riders, the speed, the gradient, where they are, for example, because these are all data that we can calculate. Also, the gradient is very important. We use a special GPX track that we put inside our GPS engine. So when we receive the coordinates from the RF provider or from RACEMAP, we match the coordinates and we see exactly where they are and where the gradient data is in that point, both for climb or downhill. We can create performance comparisons between two athletes. We can create animated maps. This is the example. This is very useful, for example, during production where we have whole black holes of signals, because we can cover with a map. Usually when we lose the video feed, we can still have the data feed because we have less data to transfer. And then we mix also with points of interest, KOM, King of Mountains, intermediate sprints, because it's very useful. So also this as an advice for the TV director. For example, we are approaching to one specific point. We need to show a church. We need to show a specific monument. And this is very useful for us. So as I said, the core of our production is the data manager. Sometimes in the big events, we can have also two data manager, one dedicated maybe on the editorial side, for example, the POIs, and the other one on the technical sides. And as I said, we very rarely use RACEMAP dashboard during the live broadcast. We just use the raw data. This is our main case study. We don't display also your map, because usually with the data you provide us, we recreate the map, because we design all the graphics with the look and feel of the client, and we can have more flexibility in this way, because sometimes they want specific things on the maps, and we can adapt in these situations. This is an example of our graphic software. This is the client. As you can see, is very simple and not so beautiful to see, but it's useful. In every space, we can control a part of the production. For example, here we can put the bib numbers, and we return the rider. If it's in green, we can show also a rider ID, something like this. So here is all the part where we fill with the data. Altimetry position, podium rankings, POI with location, weather conditions, something like this. And in this part, there are the main buttons that the graphic operators push to send the graphic screen on air to our graphic server and to the direction. Usually we also have a preview channel for the TV director, so you can see the graphic in preview and say, yes, I like it, no, I don't like it, or maybe we will use later, okay? This one is the dashboard. Now is a beta version, but it is work well because we are renewing the system. This is the dashboard of the data manager, not the graphics operator. So basically, this is an example where we have two different providers. One is RACEMAP and one is NEP, which is one of the main TV production company in Italy from the Netherlands. Here, the data manager can decide which system used during the race. As you can see, we have the four motorbikes during the production. Here we have a selector, and we can select for each motorbike if we want to use RACEMAP system or NEP system. These are the IDs of the motorbikes provided from the RF provider. These are the IDs of the tracker. Here we have all the data we receive from the two providers in our system. We divide this data. We can have every time with the data manager the situation of which one is performing better in that moment. And then we can decide which one use and update. We can decide the updates frequency. We can decide many things. We can decide also to send the data to the real GPS engine, which is the system now we will show you where the data manager control the graphic project. And this one is very important for him because we send the data to a KML on Google Earth where he can see the map with all of our pins, like POIs, as I said, but also the position of the motorbikes. And we can have the position of the real motorbike, so the GPS position, for example, in case of RACEMAP, and also the position of a virtual motorbike. What is the sense? Sometimes when we use RACEMAP, there is a little bit latency, a little bit delay from the images and the data. Usually is between 150 meters and 200 meters. So we compensate this difference in our system to be sure that the position of the kilometers to go and the motorbikes is really aligned to the images. This is the most important thing for us. So here we can see the position of the motorbikes and the position of the virtual motorbike, which is the one we display on the kilometers to go. So usually the data manager continue to control this map. He will have in front of him not only the program is what the director wants to put on air, but he can see every mobile signal in a quad split or something like this. So motor 1, motor 2, motor 3, helicopter. So you can have the idea of what the director is doing. Because another important point is that the directors many times decide to invert the position of the motorbikes. So the data manager needs to be very, very focused to change from which tracker, from which motorbike take the right data. If they invert motor 2 and motor 1 and we need to take the data from motor 2, he needs to switch. Otherwise, the kilometers to go are not aligned. This one is the dashboard e-control during the race. So he has basically the control of the motorbike and the tracker we have active. He needs to read all this data. Usually when we have the green lights, the data is correct. When we have the yellow, we need to be sure that everything is okay. It's like an alert. If it's red, something is wrong. For example, the trackers are away from the shadow track or something like this. It happens because sometimes the motorbikes take the wrong way and also the peloton, so it also happened this. And here we can also, as I said, select the next waypoint. For example, we have different labels called the RENA, I don't know the French pronouns. We can show the distance and show the label, and we have the exact situation of the distance to the finish, the distance to the waypoint, the elevation in that points, the gradient. So is on the data manager decide what information display during the race, not the graphics operator. The graphics operator is focused on the normal project like bibs, lower thirds, something like this. He can decide to switch the motorbike, as I said, in this way. So he can decide where acquire the data from Moto or from a backup system. He can start the backup system very fast. The backup system is what I said before. So we lose the data everywhere and we need to continue manually. With the start backup, we start with the last live data we have received. And we continue until we receive a new live data and then we switch again on the normal system. In this situation, motor 1 is on front, so we take the data from motor 1. If he needs to change, he just needs to click on motor 2. And we take the data from motor 2. So it's very fast, but he needs to stay focused every time, because every time a little change can affect the production and create problems in the storytelling, of course. Why we are here? We are here to learn other situation to use RACEMAP, because for us it's a small part, and also yesterday we learned a lot of things, because we would like to offer this kind of services like RACEMAP or something different to our clients, because we are really open to offer different solutions. Probably we already have the link, because many of our clients can be interested in this kind of situation, because it's endurance sports. Also Xterra is an example. It's a cross triathlon in difficult landscapes and difficult territory, because from the desert, from the woods, and even when we used in the past for the TV production, they asked us, oh, can we have the RACEMAP map to see the situation of the athletes, maybe to identify a crash or a problem without the safe map, with the normal map. And it was useful because, for example, a rider crashed and then they found him in this way. Everything was okay, but for example, it was difficult also to recollect this tracker because he lost in the woods and so on. So this is our main idea here in this workshop. These are just some of our previous works around Europe. We use the trackers almost in every of these situations, in different situations, but we use the GPS trackers from RACEMAP almost in every one of these situations. And that's it. If you have questions.
I've got a question, very practical. We have a similar challenge as you've heard yesterday, attaching the tracker to the participant's bike. So Michael and I have been discussing with former participants, where is the best place, whatever. How do you do this? I mean, I imagine you must, I mean, are you the guy that mandates where it goes? Is this the organizers? How does that work?
I asked to Michael yesterday about who take care of the trackers, because in our previous cases, we did by ourselves. Okay. It was good, but a very consuming operation, of course. When we use on the motorbikes, it's easy because we take the tracker to the driver in the bag and it's fine. In the case of the riders, we had multiple issues because with Xterra, for example, they are elite riders. They have very expensive mountain bike. So we give this to the organizer. We say, okay, you have to talk with the riders, decide what is the best for them. We don't want to take the decision. Also because someone was okay to have the tape behind the saddle. Others prefers to have it on the handlebar. So depends. But in this case, we prefer to say to the organizer, you rely on your riders. We don't have to talk with them because we don't know. We prefer to do in this way.
You've never found you've got interference problems like data? Okay.
No, in this specific case, the problems were from the bad connection in some points of the course, but not of the position of the trackers.
You said that you sync the live data to the video data. How do you, what kind of clock or sync device do you use to try to...
For the replay, you mean?
Yes. Is that more or less the same thing that we use to match cameras, like the sync inside
exactly the same, because doing the fake live, what we need from the TV production provider, if we are not us, is the time code. Every camera, the others, has a time code to record the images. So usually is aligned with the GPS time. So we need to have the time code of the start images. We align this time code in our system. So for example, now is 10:07, 30 seconds. We put this. When the TV production go with play from the replay machines, we go with the play. And we reproduce what happened in the right moment. This is something we discussed with Conrad because we would like to have the same tool with RACEMAP to simplify the operation, to have the possibility to insert a time code and to replay an event just after the finish of the event. Because usually the first rider crossed the lines, and after 10 to 20 minutes, we do the fake live for the national television. So we need to be very fast in this operation.
Maybe one more link question. Currently, it's not possible with the API to restart the replay to get in real live, like a live condition. But if I understand correctly, you don't use I think you calculate from your side the speed. For example, you take only the coordinate from RACEMAP when you are using API? Or?
Basically, yes. We take also the speed, but in any case, we reprocess the data because the data from RACEMAP, also the gap, change very fast. And during a cycling race, a pro cycling race, the director can say, no, it's wrong because it's too much different. Yeah. So we take the data from RACEMAP and then we smooth a little bit the data to don't have these fluctuations.
We asked us, I think last year or 2 years ago, the same. They wanted to record image of cycling race and put data in live condition after, and we plug it on the I don't exactly the name of the API, but the same API used in chart page. you can get all the data from one devices with all the timestamp recorded. It's a tracker API, I think. Okay. Conrad. The API you use to export a CSV file from the chart page.
Yeah.
And you can get this API to get all the coordinates recorded between this time and this time.
So like a log.
Yeah. With coordinate timestamp, and I think the resave data at this time to be able to calculate latency. And I think you can plug it on this API. You can just push, I think, in the track ID and start time and end time. It's exactly the same range using in chart page, and I think you can get the raw data from this way.
If you can show us, it's very useful. For the gap, our system is that when, for example, motor 1 passed from these coordinates, we wait for motor 2, and then we continue this calculation, because in our GPX, the points are very narrow. All the points in the GPX track are very narrow to help us in these calculations.
So can I ask a question? So I did not understand this. When the race is over, you want to have an API that shows you the state some minutes before, or the replay.
Yes, we need to insert a time code, click play, and reproduce what happened as live.
That's okay. Currently, I'm working on a new API. It's called the Unified API. It started with an Xterra request also, so they want to have things like this. And there we have a URL parameter where you can add the time, and then you can get the result of the API from any time in the past. So, and that's not the question. Would it be interesting to have it for another API too, to get not the live result, the kind of live result from the past?
Yes, it's like
This is an interesting thing we can talk about.
It's
like a screenshot.
The important thing for us to save time is to use in the same way we use in the live situation. For example, we connect to the map, to the current API, and we receive in the current API the replay of the event, because in this way our setup is the same.
Yeah, but the replay means you use every timestamp from the last 2 hours. Every 10 seconds you want to have a result. Yeah. And you want it fast. You don't want it in 2 hours. You just want it in 5 seconds.
Yes,
in 5 seconds you want to have every result from the past. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then this is not possible with your suggestion.
I think we still don't get it. Do you want the replay, let's say, continue and provide results through the current API as the results were live at the moment?
But in a very short time. Just instantly. You want all the results?
Yes, it's like when on the main dashboard with the map, you can go behind and click play. You can do it during the live, It's the same, but we need to receive the data.
And do you want to receive all the data right at once, or do you want to continue every 10 seconds to get the new data point?
What do you mean the new data point? The live point?
Yeah, the fake live point.
Yes, we need to continue to receive, yes, for sure.
Okay, so it's actually the loop.
No, I think you don't. I understand it. The race is over, and you want to do a replay data collection.
Yes, consider that.
And you want to press a button, and you want to have every moment of the race, every 10 seconds, but you just want it now.
Torna sulla pagina del camera. Yes. When the race is finished, the TV production wait 20, 30 seconds to have the line to transmit through satellite. At that point, we need to start the replay. The TV production says to us, we start, the time code is 3 minutes and 25 seconds. We need to type this time code in our system. When they click play and we have the replay images of the race, we need to click play to have the same data aligned with the images.
And then the production continues for the next 20 minutes?
Yes, usually yes. They don't.
Seconds,
Yes. They don't jump. Yeah. Sometimes yes. Sometimes they jump. For example, if we have a particular race where we have a big climb. Maybe they do the climb and then they jump for the last 10 kilometers.
YouTube video, you can replay.
It is a loop solution, but the idea to get all the information, let's say, from the last 20 minutes, like as a package with one query, maybe it's even better. I don't know, but the use case they are currently processing the images is actually as a loop,
Yeah.
which continues.
So this is two different cases. One is the download case. You want to download everything, and the other thing is you want to jump back, but play from there.
Yeah. Jump back and play from there. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, we'll discuss this.
No, the one solution I can provide already.
Our solution now is to log everything by ourselves, and then with our system, we do the replay. If you can provide, for us is less steps, it's simpler.
Just another question for me. Two more actually. Could you also use the timestamp to sync the GPS data to the live event? I mean, because the GPS tracker always have like 1 or 2 seconds delay until the data comes in. So do you use then to delay the or not delay the video, but to use this 2 seconds to jump forward to have it aligned with the video?
Yes. Usually, especially with RACEMAP, because with the RF provider, we don't have latency, so it's fine. But with the tracker from RACEMAP, it's, I think, physical to have a little bit delay. So in our system, we can, this is the tool, adjust, so we can understand the data manager needs to see where the real images is and where the tracker is, and we do the compensation in meter here. For example, we can type minus 150, and our data will be adjusted.
You do it in
Yes,
meters, not-
yes,
okay.
yes, in meters. For us, it's better because if you can see the images and the GPS map, is easier with the meters. Otherwise, you need to calculate the gap.
It's all included in your software.
Yes, exactly.
And
Yes, everything here is developed by us with the experience of years. And as I said yesterday to you, a lot of sheets and many situations. And now it's like this.
it's really, really interesting, really amazing tool. And to another thing, to not do like a lower thirds or graphics, but to visualize a map with live dots. Do you also use the same system, or is that a different?
No, it's the same system, a little bit different in the rendering, but it's the same system.
So they use the same data from.
Yes, the dashboard is a little bit different when we have also the animated map, but the workflow is the same.
Okay, but then I guess the other thing is then the graphics, how it looks like and how they export it is.
Yes, let's say that if we have animated maps like Xterra with 100 riders, is a little bit more confusing because you can type the bib number of the riders and we return the data from that rider. So it's a little bit more difficult to handle. We don't have an example here, but yes, the engine is the same, is exactly the same. Only the dashboard and the data that the data manager needs to manage is different.
Cool, thank you.
And about the display you do, you create your own map with the RACEMAP data. Do you create an elevation profile for the trail running and, for example, for the downhill? Are you able to have the tracks and where the participant is thanks to some split time?
Yes, vai su quella dell'elevation della gare. Yes, we have also like this. In this case, we don't have the dots with the position of the riders. We just have the progress with the green light, as you can see. But we can also put the dots of the riders in the elevation profile and receive the data of the gradient, the slopes, something like this. Everything we receive. Yes. Yes, with the look and feel of the event. Usually we don't use the RACEMAP map, but just because we need to align the look and feel of the map to our graphic set. As you can see, the graphic set can change in the colors and in the design, so we need to be aligned on this.
And your data manager at this office, he has the screen that you show with the data. He has how it's organized exactly. He has two different screens to check because he has many data for the moto. He has to check every time if it's correct. So how you display his office for that?
Basically, it's 3 screens. One is with the quad split or more with all the images, the live images, the motorbikes, the helicopters. One is with the dashboard we show, and one is with the map. So it needs to stay aligned with these 3 tools. The good thing is that from, I think, a couple of years, many times the data manager can work completely remotely. So we send on site only the main graphic operator, and the data manager can work completely remote from our office. We don't have problems because he controls the machines that are on site. Sometimes we receive the data locally, sometimes over the internet, depends. So we can work in the both situation.
And you don't have any delay for the communication with that? When you have your data manager?
No, it's very, very low. It's fine. We can work without problem. It's less than a second, I think. Also the images, because we use a system with low latency, maybe we don't have the full HD images sometimes if on the site we don't have a good internet or bandwidth, but it can understand what is happening.
Is only Piper Vision staff using your dashboards and your software, or do you selling this to other providers?
We never sell. In the past, our idea was to create a client to be sale, but we are not too many inside the company, so it's difficult to stay behind the project like this. Maybe in the future, but for now is only intern of the.
It's not planned to commercialize your solution.
Not in the short term.
You don't want to earn money.
Maybe in the future. Okay. Because at the end, we try many different developers in the past outside of the company, but it was too difficult for us to explain them what we need. Because every time a developer cannot understand our job, and it was difficult to realize what we really have in mind. So at the end, we decide to do by ourselves. Maybe it's not good to see, as I said, but it's very useful now for us because it's the work of many years and pieces with all the critical issues we experience.
Yeah, the question is not a joke because Mikael, you pointed it out that the one guy from New Zealand, he developed a similar solution, maybe worse, and he's
with less possibility. I think it's. I don't know what you can improve now on your system, but the New Zealand solution is more simple. It's just a small add-on to your API to say, okay, it's simple command to really simple compared to your system, and yes, really impressive. Your job, yeah.
Find commercial solution for this kind of sports in TV graphics, because you can find for football, volleyball, for sure, but not for cycling and this kind of races, because it's too many things. You need to be really inside of the job to know how to.
What you need, yeah.
And when you compare your practical experience when working on events, how big is the ratio you use the RF, let's say the expensive solution to process and location data compared to, let's say, the cheap RACEMAP solution?
This usually is up to the organizer, because the TV production is paid from the organizer or big broadcaster. So they decide the size of the production, and based on this, they decide to have live RF or not, or 4G system. So at the end, the organizer come to us saying, we don't have the RF, you need to be completely autonomous to manage the GPS. So it depends from the organizer. But now, In the last years, probably this increase of 50% the use of RACEMAP.
Okay.
Because there is no budget. The big budget, consider that to use the RF system, it's 1 day of production can be around 80,000 to 100,000 euros per day.
Compared to how much is
To between 15 and 20, 25, depends on the size of the cameras and how many motorbikes, but the difference is huge.
that means with the, let's say, the simple RACEMAP solution, it's possible to work with or for 25% of the RF solution.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, absolutely.
And does it help you to acquire more events? Yeah, okay, of course.
Yes.
Good to hear.
In Italy, we have also many competitors, but they don't display the kilometers to go. How can you do the storytelling of a cycling race without the kilometers to go and the gaps? How?
Yeah.
It's impossible. Also for the commentators, you just have to rely on Radio Tour, but sometimes Radio Tour don't do the update very, very quickly, 5 minutes from the peloton, 10 minutes ago. So,
So, and is battery life an issue for the trackers? If you have them on the motorbikes, you can power them with a motor current.
No, usually we do the power at the end of the stage, because if we do the complete coverage is maximum 5 to 6 hours. So we don't have these problems. And when we finish, for example, we give the trackers to the provider of the motorbikes. We give also the chargers, and they are autonomous.
And what is the configuration? How often they send? Every 10 seconds or every 2 seconds? Do you really use the high frequency?
From the trackers, I think is less than 10 seconds for sure. And then we vai sulla maschera quella del data manager. And then we can decide the update frequency for each system. Usually for RF, we can also keep 1 second for sure. The best update frequency with your system is 4 seconds. No less, because we have seen that less can... Yes. But this is based on the experience, because we try with 2 seconds and we struggle.
Yeah, we had this 2 times in this weekend, that if you choose 2 seconds, then some transmission problems occur.
But it's fine, because, our kilometers to go change every 100 meters. So 4 seconds is fine.
Okay.
Last feedback question, Conrad. The big difference with the New Zealand guys. The New Zealand guys provide only the JSON you need to find a graphic system after. It generates only the JSON with, okay, the distance to go to the next King of Mountain is 5 kilometers, etc. Here it's the full package. And my question is, if you want to sell in the future, I think you need to have specific machine, specific computer to be able to push the all your graphic into the hobby van. It's not easy you can't buy this computer. Yeah, sure.
Let's say that if you only manage the data, you don't need a special laptop, You need it if you generate the graphics, of course. But sometimes the data manager don't send from his laptop the graphics to the graphics server. He just sends the data to the graphic operator laptop, and then the graphic screen will go out. Usually we work like this. So we have just one graphic card where we go out with the signals, and more laptop connected to this server. This is usually the workflow. What we are trying to do now is to create a tool for TV directors and producers to have a kind of alerts based on the POIs, the points of interest, the intermediate sprints. So when we are 5 kilometers from a church that we need to display with the graphics, we give them an alert so they can be ready. And this is, of course, connected to the data. We can, we are trying to do this tool, and we tested in the Netherlands, in Tour of Holland. They were really happy about this, because it's simple, but it's something that it's not used to. You just have the note on. on the sheet, but thanks.